My name's David Thorne. In this video we're going to be talking about how to configure an NGINX web server. Very basic configuration. Let's jump straight into this. You see on my screen that I've got two terminals. On the right hand side we're logged into Debian 2 server. This is a local server inside my own network, and this one has a IP address of 1.92.168.178 and then 62, and the other one has then 61. And the aim of this is basically to run a web server using NGINX on the Debian 1, and then basically to be able to talk to it through Debian 2 with then curl requests. And if we just try this out first of all, we're going to get nothing, because right now if we look at the firewall using UFW, you'll see that I haven't opened the ports up, so nothing is coming through. Anyway, with that said, let's get started with installing NGINX on Debian 1, and we can simply do this by saying sudo apt install NGINX. And yep, it's not installed right now. And just for the sake of clarity, if you want to check to see whether NGINX is installed, you can just say apt list and then NGINX and then say installed, and it will say listing none. And as you can see here, if it was installed, it would say installed right here, but it's not. So let's just try this once again, and we'll say NGINX install or install NGINX. And now it's basically installed, and let's run the same command once again, and now you can see we've got NGINX stable and installed. And if we ask them where is NGINX, it will tell us all of the files and folders that are relevant to it. Okay, and just to check that NGINX is actually up and running, we can run this command here, so the etc init.d nginx, and then we can just say status, and we can see that it is actually running as well. So now that's done, we can now basically just try this once again on the other server, and we're still not getting through. This is because you have to open up the port. So let's just open up the HTTP port, and if we run this again, you can now see that we're actually coming through. And this is the basic file that you're going to be getting. So what I've also done is I've set up a domain, and so I've set up a local domain using DNS for tuts, and the machine. So if we're just using dig here and we just say tuts, you'll see that tuts, the zone is actually running on another server, 45. However, if we then say nginx.tuts, you can see, let's run that again. You can see that we are running that at 192.168.178.61. So this is, let's just show you the IP address. This is actually this server where it is running on. So what we want to be able to do in here, and just another clarification here, we've also got then www.nginx.tuts as well running here. So the aim of this one video is to set up an NGINX server that is going to handle requests for nginx.tuts and also for www.nginx.tuts, and that's going to display one page. Now if we run a curl command inside of here, and curl is not installed, so let's just install it now as well. And if we run curl localhost in here, we get basically the same page as what we got before. And what our aim is that if we run the curl request internally on this Debian 1 server, we're going to get one page. And if we run it from externally, we're going to get another page. So it means that we are setting up an NGINX server for internal and external requests, based upon who you call it from. All right, so now we've got the basic overview. Let's get started. So we're on our Debian 1 machine. This is the most important. This is going to be our web server, and the Debian 2 is our client. So that's what you got to remember. So let's move into the NGINX folder, and you can see here we've got sites available and sites enabled. For the sake of just simplicity, we're going to remove also, first of all, the default configuration, which is the default here. So let's just go ahead and remove that, because I don't like it. And then let's just remove the enable 1, 2. And now we can move into the conf directory and basically make our NGINX configuration. So let's start by saying nginx .tuts.conf here. This is what we're going to name it. Remember, nginx is the subdomain and tuts is the zone, the zone that we're going to be using. So let's open this up. And the first thing that we have to do is open and close a server block. And open a server block. And next we want to listen on port 80. Now you don't actually have to do this because NGINX will by default listen on port 80. However, I think it's just good practice. And we want to know this is going to be the default server. So this request is going to be for this one here. And if we come down to this one here, and this is one going to be for internal requests on local host and internal requests on 127 here, and we are also going to do internal requests on the actual IP that it's got, and which is 61. So we're going to limit all requests that are made within inside of this server here are going to run on this one here, but we can still say listen on port 80, but this one's not going to be the default server. So this one here is always going to be the default. So let's put server name here, and as we said, we want nginx www.nginx.tuts, and then we want to serve the nginx.tuts also. Now we're going to say the root directory is going to be the HTML directory, and then just for simplicity in the beginning, we're going to say that's the index.html file. So if there's no file shown and the request is literally just nginx tuts here, if this is the request, then this is going to default to search for the index.html. All right, but if the person does actually say index.html, then it's going to serve that one anyway. And if it serves then I don't know, profile.html, if that file doesn't exist, then it's going to give a 404. And to be able to stop that, what we can do is we can add location here, a block, and we can say try files. And first of all, we're going to say $URI, and this is going to say, hey, whatever's the path that's there, the URI that's there, try this one first. And if that one doesn't exist, then see if it's a directory, and this will start again with using the index to see whether there's an index file there. And what I'm going to do in this situation is I'm going to say otherwise just load the index.html. I don't want any 404s, anything like that. I want always to show a page, and the page I want to show is always the index.html. So we're always going to get something. All right. So, and this one here, we're pretty much going to do the same thing, but rather than add the server name, we're going to say, hey, serve for the loopback address, and also for localhost, and also for my network address, which is 192.168.178.6.1. And we're going to say the root here is then internal, and our index is going to be HTML once again, and we're going to allow for this to have a 404. All right, because it's an internal, we want them to know, hey, this is actually a 404. So let's save this. This is always all that we require for now, and we can now check to see whether it's all okay, and it is all okay. So let's just reload our server by saying nginx s and then say reload. And let's come back to this again, and we'll say nginx.tuts, and we get forbidden. That's because let's go over to our var directory, and we've got the HTML directory here, and you can see that we don't actually have an index.html page. We have a index.nginx.debian.html, and this is the default file that's been installed by NGINX. So we need to change this. So let's just remove it for the sake of let's just remove it, and I need sudo there, and then let's open up another index.html that can be displayed, and here we'll say hello nginx.tuts external server. All right, and now we come into the HTML directory, and we're going to make this directory now, and this was then called internal, and we'll say sudo vim internal index.html, and this is say hello local local network. All right, and let's change the ownership of these files. Just to give it ownership to nginx or www-data. And now let's come here again, and now we can see hello nginx external server, and if we do www, we get the same thing too. Now if we come and do this one, and we say curl localhost, we get hello local network, and if we do this too, and we say this, and hello local network. Now if we come on the other machine, the Debian 2 machine, and now we use the IP address itself, you see we get hello local network, which means there's no DNS here, and it's just basically goes straight towards the IP address itself. But however, once again, if we then go tuts here, and if we go like this, you'll see that nginx tuts is on 61. So yeah, this is basically how you configure the nginx server this is a basic way of configuring the nginx server to handle two different sites on the same port, and one internally and externally. Yeah, so I hope you've learned something in this video tutorial. If you have any questions, please put the questions in the comments, and yeah, I'll answer them, and I'll make any other videos to answer those questions too. There'll be more videos coming about NGINX, but I just thought I'd do a quick and fast and easy tutorial about how to set this up. I will go into more detail in other videos as well in the future. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.